Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to another Wild Rift video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys an updated tier list for every single role in the game. This is going to be for patch 5.0 C, which is the patch that came out a couple of days ago. I'm always a little late with these tier lists, and the reason is I want to play the patch for a couple of days before giving you guys a tier list. I know the tier list is not going to get even half as many views as normally, but I feel pretty stupid if I make a tier list right after the new patch comes out. Because how the hell am I supposed to know how good everything is, right? So apologies for the delay to the tier list. Now I have a proper tier list. I'll explain to you guys everything. Timestamps in the description if you want to skip to the Baron lane, jungle, mid lane, or whatever. Also, as you may see, I have a new beard style. My sister really insisted on me trying this. She even came with me to the barber. Let me know what you guys think about this look. I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know. We'll see. Before we fully get into the tier list though, just a quick word from the video sponsor. This video is sponsored by HelloFresh, and while I'm talking about HelloFresh, you can see me make a very delicious pasta with ham, mozzarella, and red pesto. So initially I thought, you know, HelloFresh is going to be very expensive, it's not going to be very tasty, it's going to be hard to make, but all of this is not true. First of all, you know, they sent everything to your house, it's not expensive, and it's very delicious, and you know what my personal favorite thing is? You actually learn to cook new things as well. I have a lot of different things that I cook, but you can really brighten up your horizon of what type of food you make when you order these HelloFresh boxes. They come to your house, you cook them, nice and easy. And the thing is, you can also choose meals that are very, very quick to make. And then you can also choose meals that may take a little bit longer, but will be extremely delicious. By the way, look at those beautiful cooking skills of me, huh? And this one was a little bit easier to make, still delicious. And I wonder what you guys think how I did. While you're at it, make sure you check my link in the description and also use my code HellsDevil16FM, 16FM standing for 16 free meals plus free dessert for the rest of your life while your subscription is active. Click on that link. Alright, back to the video. Man, that pasta was delicious. I do want to say that. Like, it really was. So, what is also delicious? Set. That can be taken very much out of context, but what I'm talking about is Set's power in the game. This champion is unreal. And you know what? Let me tell you the funny thing. He sort of got a placebo nerf, and the reason that I'm saying placebo nerf, I mean, obviously it is a nerf. They nerfed his second ability, but everything else is the same. Everything else. And the second ability is still the same. It's only weaker when it's fully charged. That's the only scenario that it's nerfed. Set is still very much completely insane. And let me tell you the reason that I haven't put him in the broken tier. The reason that I haven't put him in the broken tier is because people figured out how to play against Set. People have figured it out. He's still super strong. But that's actually one of the main reasons why generally a champion goes down from the broken tier to the S+ tier. You know, this happened to Lee Sin before, for example. This happened to Kha'Zix as well. This happened to Kayn. People sort of learn how to play against the type of champion. And I feel like that's what happened with Set. Nevertheless, he's still hella strong. Same goes for Mundo. Incredibly powerful. They nerfed him in the wrong spots. He's still very much OP. He's just he does a little bit less damage now. He's still just as tanky, but he still does a hell of a lot of damage. I also want to address some comments. A lot of people comment, you know, they tell me like, Hells, you talk a lot about the S+ tier, the S tier champions, but why don't you talk a lot about the A tier and B tier and C tier below? And I've thought about it a little bit. My initial answer was like, you know, obviously the S+ and as the S tier are more important champions, but I'm going to try to address the A and the B tier a little bit more while taking away a little bit of time from the S+ and the S tier. So I'm going to go through the champions a little bit more quickly, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the A and B tier. I'm not going to talk about all of the champions because then the video is going to be like an hour long, but let me know your thoughts on this new format. Of course, I'm also doing a skin giveaway, so let me know your thoughts anyways, and give this video a like. I'll make a like goal for this video. I'll find a funny champion to make a like goal for. So Mundo still very much good. Darius. Reason that Darius is incredibly powerful is because first of all, first things first, you can now build Trinity Force and Black Cleaver at the same time. 2 core items of Darius, and I need to make a new video of this. I need to make a new video because this makes Darius so much stronger. It has always been you either go Trinity Force or you go Black Cleaver, right? Now you can combine it. You can go for both of them. And Darius counters all of the tanks in the tank meta. So that's another good thing as well. Talking about countering the tank meta, we have Fiora, the best split pusher in the game right now. You don't even need to build a hull breaker on Fiora. That's the beauty of this champion. Just split push. Especially with the addition of her first ability now being able to do damage to turrets. Absolutely incredible split pusher. Incredible, incredible. And Yone. If I ask you what is the reason that Yone is so high up, you probably are not going to know the answer, but let me tell you. Yone counters tanks. Yone counters tanks. All you gotta do, build a Blade of the Rune King and set Mundo, Garen, Renekton, Ornn, all of them have no chance in the lane. No, like, not even a chance. Because Blade of the Rune King Yone will shred their HPs. And he's better in the Baron lane than in the mid lane. Because as I said, in the Baron, he can just bully the melee champions. And you know, normally they're tanky. But again, the Blade of the Rune King doesn't care about them being tanky. It'll shred through them anyways. And another champion that follows a similar principle is Camille. Does Camille look like she cares about your tankiness? She doesn't. She doesn't care at all. And you know, early game, even early game, her second ability does damage based on maximum HP as well, percentage damage. Her first ability doesn't do percentage damage, but it does a lot of damage, and it does true damage in the late game. So early game, you have second ability, and your ult also does percentage damage, percentage current HP damage. Late game, you have your first ability's true damage as well. And on top of all of that, she can also dive enemy backlines very easily. I need to go through them a little bit more quickly because this video is definitely going to be an hour long like this. Garen is Garen. Yes. Renekton. So the thing with Renekton is, I've always thought Renekton kind of sucked. And honestly, he did. But I believe they buffed his ult. They buffed his ult. So, very funny thing. When I did that patch preview in that video, I honestly thought it was a useless buff. Like, I really thought it was. But after facing Renekton in lane so many times, and I cannot even count on one hand how many times I've lost to Renektons in 1v1s, and they left with like 50 HP. Just because of that ultimate buff, right? The HP buff. So that made me decide, yeah, this is an insane buff. Because his ult gives him so much HP now. And on maximum rank, it even gives him 950 HP. Why do I know all these numbers in my head? Like, I really need to find a hobby or something. What the hell is this? But just 950 HP, that's ridiculous. So Renekton is incredibly powerful right now with that ultimate. Vladimir is a stupid, silly champion. You can pick him into anything. He'll always be good. He completely counters diving champions. He can dive himself as well with his second ability. Just overall a completely broken champion. He can play the lane safely, easily. Just, he has everything. Jax is a weaker Fiora split push wise, but incredibly powerful during team fights too. The problem is Jax doesn't win 1v1s as reliably as Fiora. He does win 1v1s still quite reliably. But for example, a Camille will beat him, a Darius will beat him, Sett will beat him, Mundo will beat him too. So, meanwhile, Fiora actually beats all of them, right? Like, Fiora actually does beat all of them. So, that's the thing I'm trying to say about Jax. He's very good, don't get me wrong. And he beats the majority of the champions. But he's just not as reliable as he used to be, if you know what I mean. He really isn't as reliable. Ornn is Ornn. Very good, very nice. Just a nice champion. Gwen. I was going to say I forgot the name of the champion. Gwen is very nice. She counters tanks. Yasuo is fine. Not as good as Yone, but he's fine. Because, you know, Blade of the Rune King Yasuo is still very good, but not as good as Yone. Akali, the champion itself, is very, very powerful. However, she doesn't really work well into tanks, so yeah. Aatrox, I honestly feel like Aatrox is significantly weaker now. Again, the champion itself is very strong, but I feel like he struggles a lot 1v1ing these type of tankier champions. So that's why I've put him actually in the middle of the S tier. Still very strong, but I wouldn't rate him S+ tier anymore. Malphite is Malphite. Volibear is surprisingly good in the Baron lane. Wukong is, you know, I don't know why, but since the recent patches, Wukong has fallen off quite a lot. I don't know when Wukong gets reworked, but when you see the tier list, maybe he's reworked. This is the pre-rework, just so you know, right? Like, this is pre-reworked Wukong that I'm talking about. I think reworked Wukong is probably going to be very strong because you know how Riot works. I also saw the changes. His ult does 2% more maximum HP damage, so I would probably rank him in the middle of the S+ tier, but obviously I would actually have to try him out before knowing how good he is. Pantheon is Pantheon, very nice, very good, but doesn't fit the tank meta. So that has brought him down all the way to the A tier. He used to be top S+ tier, just so you guys know. He still one-shot squishies, but with the addition of the Crown of the Shattered Queen, all the tanks, you know, it all counters him directly. It's not indirectly, it's a direct counter. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. Shen is good. Again, Irelia is good, but she struggles against tanks. Irelia is very good early game. But even if you dominate the early game, she's not the type of champion that can carry it into the late game. She can carry it into the mid game, don't get me wrong. But if you've ever played Irelia, and even you've dominated the early mid stages of the game, you actually notice that late game, if the game gets to 3, 4, 5 items, you'll start to realize that even though you have 5 items and the enemy has 3.5, they're gonna start beating you. Probably not in a 1v1, but in a team fight. And if you compare it to like a 5 item Yone, 5 item Camille, 5 item anyone, you know, they're gonna destroy your team. But Irelia, surprisingly weak late game. AP Gragas got a massive buff, still feels a bit underwhelming. Teemo is okay, Singed is fine. Riven feels a bit underwhelming too, like a weaker Aatrox to be fair. Olaf, like honestly never pick Olaf. Tryndamere, to be fair, I should have rated Tryndamere a bit higher. I mean, he's... I was hesitant. I was really thinking about putting him bottom A tier or here, but you know, if you think about it, Tryndamere is stronger than Nasus and Olaf, so it's probably better in the bottom of the A tier. You know, Kill is fine, but like, this is solo queue by the way. Again, Kill should be higher, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, Kill should really be over here because, you know, of course you're gonna have the games where you get dominated, of course, right? But there's going to be a lot of games where the enemy Baron laner just doesn't know how to shut Kill down. Only when you reach high elo, Kill becomes weaker. Like, this is accurate for high elo. But like, if this is, you know, in lower elos, Kill could probably even be somewhere here. Because people just don't know how to play against it. You know, I'm currently high Grandmaster rank. I'm going to be Challenger soon. I'm not actually trying to aim to be Challenger. I'm just playing fun stuff, but it is working somehow. And I noticed that more and more people have learned how to play against Kill. Because the longer Wild Rift exists, the better the player base gets, right? So this skill is gonna go down in ranks over time. So like in Diamond rank soon, people are not gonna be able to properly play Kill Baron anymore. Then in Emerald rank, people are gonna start to learn how to play against Kill. So slowly but steadily, Kill is going down in my tier list. If you go, you know, all the way back in my older tier list, depending on the period, because there were moments Kill was beyond broken and moments that she was really weak. You'll see her be like much higher in the tier list, and now she's declining a bit. I talked about Gragas already. So Nasus, you know, I'm a Nasus lover, but I don't know, guys. He's not that strong in the Baron lane anymore. You know who's a very unfortunate case? This one right here. This one right here was one of the best Baron laners in the game. And then they nerfed his ult. His ult does significantly less damage now. And that's, you know, obviously that's the bread and butter of Canon. And now you don't have that big ult anymore. It's still an ult, but it's like Annie, right? Annie still has an ult, but it's not like what it used to be anymore. It's just not. So same happened with Canon. Even if you're very ahead, that ult is just not gonna hurt as much as it used to before anymore. So next up we talk about the jungle, and oh, by the way, I want you guys to guess. There's only a single champion in my tier list in the broken tier. One champion. Who is it? You've obviously seen the Baron lane tier list and the jungle one right now. So the broken champion is gonna be within the mid lane, dragon lane, or the support. I'm telling you, you know, it's not the obvious one, if you know what I mean. I'll give you that tip. It's not the obvious one. Right? You should know which one I'm talking about. It's not that one. It's another one. Just so you know. So put it in the comments. Let me know your guess. I'm really curious what you guys would guess would be the broken tier champion. I'm sure a lot of people will get it though if you think about it properly. So Kha'Zix, he's not broken tier. He's just not. Contrary to popular belief, he just really isn't. Because first of all, again, you know, the player base is getting better. You know, we need to talk about this a little bit more. People know how to play against it, right? Like back in the days when I would play ADC, for example, I'm playing Jhin and I have a Janna. The Janna would always stay away from me and shield me from max distance, and Kha'Zix is gonna one-shot me. Now, you should notice, especially in higher elos, when you play with your support and you're against a Kha'Zix, your support will stick with you, right? They know. They now know that they have to stick with you to not isolate yourself. So all of this really contributes towards indirect counters towards that Kha'Zix and I've put him down to the S plus tier. He's not really broken tier anymore. To be fair, you know, again, it's, oh, let me tell you why, like, I'm changing up stuff, because I made the entire tier list. It takes me like half an hour to do all of this, by the way. I made it all, and then my Google Chrome got reset. So I had to make all of them again. I got pretty tilted. So that's why some of them are not going to be 100% in place, which is why I'm fixing some stuff in the video right now, like Kayn being above Kha'Zix. I'm very sorry about that, but I'm sorry guys. I'm just a human. Sometimes I get very tilted. So that's why, like, I'm placing around some of the champions. So Kayn is definitely the strongest jungler. Kayn is a very weak early game jungler, but in Wild Rift you can just build Shimmering Spark, and within 2, 3, 4 minutes you're gonna have your passive. Whether it's Red Kayn or Blue Kayn. Red Kayn is better in this patch, by the way. I highly suggest you to watch my recent Red Kayn video. I have a new build with Duskblade of Draktar and stuff. Really check it out for entertainment purposes and to see the best Kayn build, the best jungler with the best build in the current meta, because it is absolutely broken. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm saying it's broken, but meanwhile he's not in the broken tier in my tier list. Such a clickbait YouTuber I am, huh? Now, but jokes around, he's really strong. I didn't put him in the broken tier, and let me tell you guys why. You guys remember the obnoxious Blue Kayn times, right? Like when Crown of the Shattered Queen did not exist, Blue Kayn was an absolute menace. Well, now we have tank meta and Crown of the Shattered Queen. So Blue Kayn is kind of cancelled. He's still good. Don't get me wrong. He's still very good. But he's not broken anymore. However, the funny thing is the rating right here is not for Blue Kayn. It's for the Red Kayn. This is not Blue Kayn. If I would rate Blue Kayn, I would rate him here. Still S plus tier, but not top of S plus tier, because tanks, he cannot do anything against. Crown of the Shattered Queen counters him, you know. Just doesn't work that well anymore. Again, we talked about the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is still very, very good. Of course, tanks are good into Kha'Zix, but Kha'Zix can still 1v1 a lot of the tanks, so that still makes him a contender to be the best jungler in the game. Evelynn, yet again, she gets countered by the tanks, but man, Evelynn is such a stupid champion. She can, you know, she can just walk past the tanks and just assassinate your backline completely. Same goes for Talon. They nerfed Talon, right? He's not broken tier anymore. He used to be broken tier. If you look, I believe, oh, my previous tier list was when Talon was with Talon before the hotfix, but after the hotfix, Talon was broken tier, 100%. Now he's sitting comfortably in the S plus tier. Talon has the fastest jungle clear in the game, early, mid, and late game, just so you guys know. So what this is going to result into is I'm pretty sure this champion has the highest gold per minute. Besides Draven, besides like very good Draven players, I'm pretty sure Talon will have the highest gold per minute out of any other champion. It should be at least 900, because he farms so fast, he gets kills so fast, he's very quick, like he's very quick with everything, and he doesn't even fall off in the late game. That's the funny thing, he doesn't even fall off. Like, he's strong across the board, he doesn't have weaknesses. Even against tanks, you have an anti-tank build. And now again, you can go Trinity Force Black Cleaver, which is going to be an anti-tank build and have a very fast jungle clear. He's just good, he's very, very good. Camille Jungle, this is a bit of a hidden pick. She's so powerful, guys. Into the tank meta, Camille Jungle is very, very strong. She has a good jungle clear, good gank, and amazing late game scaling. Amazing. She also has a good objective secure with her second ability. Overall, like a solid jungle champion. Like, you know, a very, very solid champion. And there really are no weaknesses with Camille Jungle. There really aren't. Like, there just aren't. She's not, you know, she's not broken. She's just very strong with no weaknesses. So first pick Camille. There is no counter. Okay, you know, Lee Sin counters Camille. He can ult her out of her ult, but it doesn't even matter that much. Like, it really doesn't. Like, Camille is just super duper powerful. Aatrox feels way stronger in the jungle than in the Baron lane, because in the jungle he can farm, he can gank. He can, you know, do Aatrox things in the early mid game. He'll dominate the team fights with his ultimate. He'll get every dragon and stuff. So that's why Aatrox is very strong in the jungle, contrary to in the Baron lane, where he's still strong, you know, S tier, but wouldn't rate him as high as the jungle. Lee Sin, a very good, solid jungler, gets countered by the tank meta. But still, you know, S tier, not S plus tier, solid jungler. Volibear, surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. You have two builds with Volibear, the anti-squishy build with the Trinity Force, Riftmaker, and the Titanic Hydra. And you have a super tanky build, which I'm going to be uploading on the HellsDevil Plus channel sometime soon. Again, make sure you check out the HellsDevil Plus channel. I'm uploading 2 videos almost every single day on that channel. Check it out, live gameplay over there. So yes. Hecarim is good, doesn't feel as good as before anymore because of course everyone is tanky, and when you go Divine Sunder on Hecarim, it doesn't feel as good as, you know, the Trinity Force, so meh. Xin Zhao feels surprisingly strong. Pantheon can be played as a tank in the jungle. He's like a next contender of the Unkillable tank series, you guys are gonna see him very soon. Zed jungle, very strong assassin. Even though it's the tank meta, Zed jungle very strong. You can go Black Cleaver, Cyrilda's Grudge, and you can actually take care of tanks as well. It's pretty crazy, huh? Mundo jungle should be higher. Again, like this is the mistake I made. Mundo jungle should be here. This is his place. Very, very strong. Very strong. And then another assassin that's very good in the jungle is Fizz. Fizz just has one of the most broken abilities in the game, which is the third ability. It's always going to be good, this champion. He has a very fast jungle clear too. Very, very good gank with his ultimate. You can't gank 24/7 because his ult is on a pretty long cooldown. But when you do have that ultimate, oh boy, you can gank. Again, Wukong, nothing special. Riven, a weaker Aatrox. Morgana jungle has a fast clear, but you know, it's just really not that good in the jungle. She has a very weak gank. The only good thing about Morgana is her fast jungle clear, which again is not even the fastest. Like Vi is faster, Evidin is faster, Talon is faster, you know what I mean? But her late game team fighting is very, very strong. That really compensates for everything. Nunu is okay. Diana Diana has fallen off. Diana used to be S plus tier. Funny thing, no changes have been made to Diana, but of course everything around Diana got changed. Diana sucks into tanks. The whole point of Diana jungle is to one-shot enemy squishies, right? I guess that's literally the whole point. But if you cannot one-shot... If you're playing Diana into a Volibear into the jungle, you are not gonna do anything. Let me tell you that. Against a Mundo in the top lane, you are not gonna do anything. Against a Braum in the support... Braum! I forgot to rate Braum properly in the support. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Shyvana, quite good. Honestly better than Diana and Nunu, because Shyvana counters the tank meta. With her when you get 300 stacks, her third ability will do 3%. Again, why do I know these numbers? 3% true damage, maximum HP, which per basic attack. And her first ability does a double basic attack, so you'll do a lot of true damage based on maximum HP. So it doesn't matter if the enemies have a lot of HP, doesn't matter if they have a lot of armor, damage reduction, or any of that. You are gonna truly destroy them as a Shyvana. Lilia counters tanks, but the champion itself just feels weak. Again, she works really well into tanks, you know, into the Alistars, into the Nunus, into the Mundos, Set, all of these tanks. She works really well into them because she does true damage, percentage damage, slowing, everything. She heals up, all of that is really good into tanks. But she's just weak. She's just a weak champion, very niche pick, I would say, which means you can only pick her into particular scenarios, which is, you know, a very tanky enemy. Gragas jungle, he has a good jungle clear now, but again, it's just, I don't know. You know, in this tank meta, he just doesn't have his place. Yone jungle is a very strong jungler, should be higher, but I feel like almost no people know how to play Yone jungle. Like, it's so hard. It's not necessarily mechanically, but like properly timing your abilities to get your tornado ready for a gank. Yeah, it's hard to play Yone jungle, like really, really hard. Shen jungle is fine. Fiddlesticks is surprisingly good, but then again, the tank meta counters him. Darius jungle is fine, Gwen jungle is fine. Rengar feels a bit underwhelming now. The only build I would ever go on Rengar now would be like a Bruiser build with Divine Sunderer, Spirit Visage and stuff like that. I don't think full damage Rengar is going to be good this patch, because yet again, tank meta. Jarvan is fine, Master Yi is fine, Twitch is, you know, works well into tanks, but Twitch has such a slow jungle clear now. It's unbelievable how slow it is. It's really, really slow. I'll actually make a Twitch video on the HellsDevil Plus channel very, very soon. Echo is good, But then again, tank meta, you know, the thing is, you may be thinking, but Hells, Evelynn also doesn't work into tank meta, Talon also, but they do. They're so strong that they still do. And if you compare Talon and Evelynn with Echo, both Talon and Evelynn can become invisible and one-shot someone, and they're way more mobile than Echo. So that's why they're so much better. Nyla is supposed to be way better, but she has a slow jungle clear for some reason. But Nyla is supposed to counter all of these tanks, but for some reason, Mundo can 1v1 Nyla. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how. But for some reason, when I saw that happen, and Nyla that was ahead of the Mundo, she got 1v1 by the Mundo. So that's when I knew Nyla sucks. Rammus sucks because Rammus works against ADCs, against attack damage champions, you know, champions that don't do true damage. Of course, in this patch, you're going to see a lot of champions picked that are going to have some form of true damage to counter the tank meta. So that indirectly counters Rammus too. And you're just not going to see that many ADCs picked anymore like before. Olaf is fine, counters the tank meta, but I don't know, he just feels so weak. Vi is way better than this. I don't know why I've put her over here. Vi should be somewhere here. What is this champ? Warwick. Warwick is bad. Amumu is bad. Kill Jungle again, a little bit better than that. And I apologize for not placing everything correctly, but I got so tilted that I did it a little bit faster than before. But Kill Jungle is fine because she counters tanks. But then again, if you do get invaded, it's a bit of a problem. But I feel like Kill Jungle, and to be fair, she should even be here. Because unless you're super high elo, you can pretty much always get away with playing Kill Jungle. Because people are just simply not gonna invade you. On to the mid lane. As you can see, the broken tier is not in the mid lane either. I'm sure a lot of people have guessed Akali. But it's actually not Akali. Akali is very good. Almost broken tier is what I would say. But then again, the tank meta, it just doesn't suit her very well. And honestly, I feel like she can get bullied in lane. Still, S+ tier, top of S+ tier. Insanely powerful champion. I just want to make that clear. Like, her not being in the broken tier doesn't necessarily mean she's not nearly broken. She is nearly broken. And with a little bit of clickbait, I would put her as broken in the title. You know what I mean? So, next up is TF. I've always been the type of person that, you know, says that TF is hella strong. And I still think TF is one of the strongest mid laners in the game. I mean, look at the champion. Constant 2-second stunts. Big burst damage. Gets a lot of passive gold from his passive and from his third ability. Can gank at any time with his ult. Can check any Baron or Dragon or anything. Can literally catch out anyone at any moment in the later stages of the game. Can split push in the late game and rotate to the team fight in a single second with his ultimate. What else do you need from a champion, guys? What else? And then I know, look, I know the tank meta is supposed to counter him. But it doesn't. He still does so much damage to tanks. Against tanks, build a Nashor's Tooth and you'll destroy them. It's just ridiculous how strong TF is. It's absolutely ridiculous and he needs to get nerfed. I mean, to be fair, I don't care too much about it. I love playing TF myself, but he should get nerfed. Khazrin also doesn't necessarily work into the tank meta, but the good thing about Khazrin is these tanks like Sett and Mundo cannot stick to him. He can just jump around, kill the ADC and keep jumping around. That's the beauty of this champion, right? He can just keep going over walls, so none of these tanky bruiser types of champions should be able to kill the Khazrin. Vladimir mid lane feels way stronger than in the top lane, because in the mid lane, you will struggle more early game, okay, than in the top lane. But once you get your ultimate, and you know you get your teammate to gank, in the top lane it can be a little bit hard to kill a tank under that turret, but a squishy champion you can kill them from 100% to 0 with your teammate by diving them under the turret when you're playing Vladimir. Because when you use your ultimate, all of the damage that gets dealt to them is going to be increased further after the ultimate. So, and of course you as a Vladimir can tank an extra turret shot with your second ability. So that's why in the mid lane, even in solo queue, you can actually destroy a lot of mid laners with him. And of course, late game Vladimir is insane. Katarina got buffed recently. She's very strong. Her ult is incredibly powerful. But then again, guys, the tank meta doesn't work for her. Katarina would have been broken tier with how strong she is in previous patches, just so you guys know. But the tank meta does not work for her. Syndra got nerfed. Still S plus tier. She used to be broken tier, funny by the way. But she feels quite underwhelming now. And with underwhelming, I mean she's still very, very good, but not broken. Zed. I'm a Zed enjoyer, what can I say? Zed is very, very strong. Again, doesn't really work very well into the tanks, but he can get away with diving, right? Like he can dive, he can go back to his shadows, he can get kills, his ult has a low cooldown with the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Overall, a very solid champion. Lucian mid lane, very, very strong. He only struggles against some mages that can bully him, but even against assassins, he doesn't struggle at all. Because all you gotta do is just get an exhaust, and Lucian mid lane will dominate any assassin. Except for Zed. Only Zed can actually destroy Lucian. But like Katarina, Akali, Kassadin, especially Kassadin. Oh my god. Lucian destroys Kassadin. Early game, early mid game, there's no chance you can even play your lane. At all, really. And he has very good wave pushing as well. So we can roam around and gank. And of course, Lucian's late game is incredibly powerful right now. Lucian is very, very strong right now. Yasuo mid lane is a lot better than in the Baron lane, because in the mid lane, he can dash through the minions, bully the enemy, and go back. You cannot really do that into a Baron laner, because, you know, they're going to pull you in and destroy you. You know, bruisers are not, they don't joke around like ranged mid laners, right? If you get close to them, they're going to pull you in, and they're going to show you what a bruiser is. Lux mid lane. Some of you guys may remember that Zed video on my second channel, the absolute menace of a Lux that I had in my enemy. Yeah, that kind of made me decide Lux is hella strong. Again, doesn't really work that well into tanks. However, if you think about it, she does work into tanks, right? Because I'm saying she doesn't work. And what do I mean with she doesn't work? She doesn't do a lot of damage to them. However, if tanks engage on your team as a Lux, you can easily root them, stop them in their tracks, still do a lot of damage to them, and just go back with your team. And you've poked like 30-40% of their HPs. Even though you're not going to one-shot them, you know, even if you ult, you are bullying them, and you're not allowing, you know, the enemy Darius, the enemy Set to easily engage in your team. Set can still ult in your team, but you know what I'm saying, right, so guys? You can stop these Baron laners from engaging in your team, these tanks from engaging in your team. And of course, if you catch a squishy as a Lux, you'll one-shot them. Talking about one-shotting, Zoe. Still obnoxiously annoying. She got nerfed over and over again, but she's still hella strong. If it weren't for the tank meta, she would have been S plus tier, not broken tier. She's just very, very strong. Aurelion Sol got nerfed recently, and it actually hit him real hard, this nerf. He was broken tier, but now he's S tier. He's still very good, but the thing is now, him having like 200 stacks now is the same as him having like 100 stacks before. It's, you know, essentially you've lost. Essentially you start the game at minus 100 stacks. Doesn't exactly work that way, but well, actually, yeah, it doesn't exactly work that way, but that's essentially what happens in the mid game. You're going to be significantly weaker mid game. Late game, he will still feel very similar, but the thing is, like, early game he's weak. He used to get quite strong mid game, and then of course very, very strong late game. But now he remains weak in the mid game, and only in the late game does he get strong. So missing out on that mid game power spike really hurts him a lot. And yeah, it just makes him a complete late game champion, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but of course that doesn't make him completely broken anymore. Because even, I mean, okay, in the late game, it's pretty much game over, but still. Diana mid lane, not very good, much better than in the jungle, but the only good thing about Diana mid is she can actually shove waves. She counters these long-range mages like Orianna, Brandt, Syndra, stuff like that. She can jump on them, one-shot them. So if you see yourself laning against a champion like that, you can pick Diana and it's still going to be quite nice. Pyke mid lane, very strong. Yet again, doesn't really work well into the tank meta, but in the mid lane he's very good because he can shove waves, not super fast, but he can shove them. And then he can rotate super fast. With his second ability, he's super fast. So you can just gank 24/7. Get yourself an early proto belt, and you're going to be an absolute menace in the game to the enemies. You can gank 24/7. Yone mid lane is not going to be as strong. He can get bullied by his ranged champions in the mid lane. Even by the melee champions, like an Akali is going to destroy a Yone, right? So he's just not that good in the mid lane. He's really not that good. And his side lane ganking is also not that good. The reason that he works in the jungle is because you can stack up the tornado and then gank with the tornado. But if you come from mid lane, you cannot maintain that tornado long enough to be able to gank with a tornado. So you're gonna have to do a bit of an awkward gank where you jump in with your third ability and you're not gonna have a tornado ready. So you're either gonna have to ult immediately, which is, you know, unlikely to always hit, or you're just gonna have to do damage without CCing them, which is also not good with a gank. So overall, he's just not a very strong mid laner. Brand should be higher. Again, apologies for the you know. Brand is strong. Like, let me tell you guys that much. Brand is strong. Wouldn't say that he's quite as strong as the champions above him, but yes, when we talk about tank meta, we talk about brand meta. You know, this is the brand meta. He does so much damage. It feels like you are a hot knife, literally, because he is a hot, you know, he has fire around him. It feels like you're a hot knife going through butter. Absolute butter. It doesn't matter how tanky the opponents are, Brand will go through them. And even in the late game, he's so easy to play, but is also so rewarding when mastered. So in high elo he's good because people are gonna master him. In low elo he's also good because people are gonna spam his abilities, which is also gonna do a lot in the team fights. Fizz is good. Basically, Fizz is gonna be really annoying to deal with some of the top picks like Akali, for example, because when Fizz ults the Akali, she cannot become invisible because Fizz's ultimate gives true vision on the enemy champion. Fizz hard counters TF, by the way, just so you guys know, and Fizz counters Lucian as well. So Fizz is just very good into a lot of the top picks, and Fizz is very good at ganking. Aurelia works really well in the mid lane because she counters a lot of those ranged champions. If she catches them with a stun, they're dead. They're literally dead. You cannot get caught by a stun of Aurelia. Galio is fine. Akshan is fine. Akshan is actually better than you guys think. I should probably make an Akshan video for my second channel too. Echo is quite decent in the mid lane because he can turret dive pretty well. So like if you get ganks, he's very, very nice. Swain mid lane is very nice as well. Swain is actually very, very nice in the mid lane because he gets super tanky, and in the later stages of the game he's very, very tanky, and he counters all of those tanks in that way as well. Like in those long team fights, he can stack up that Amaran Twin Guard super easily and just get a Rift Maker too. You're gonna do a lot of nice damage as well while healing and being unkillable and tanking everything, and you're letting your team carry the game as well. Orianna is very good. She does a lot of DPS, which is of course very, very nice in the current meta. Although I don't know why, but she feels a bit lackluster in the mid lane. Maybe it's because a lot of the top tier mid lane picks counter Orianna. I don't know, but like whenever I see an Orianna in mid lane, she just struggles like crazy. It's just, I don't know, she just really does. I couldn't give you a proper explanation to that. I mean, if we do look at the top tier champions, Lucian destroys Orianna. Yasuo can beat him. Syndra beats her. Katarina can be annoying. Vladimir beats her. Khazrin beats her late game. TF is annoying into her too. Akali, if she catches her, beats her. So all of these top champions. Zoe destroys Orianna, right? So, but Aurelion Sol, for example, does very poorly into Orianna. So that's the thing. I just feel like Orianna gets countered by not the meta, but just everything else that is very good right now. She just gets countered by it. And all of the things Orianna is good against, you know, like the champions we're seeing below. Like Orianna does good into Ziggs, she does good into Seraphine, she does good into Zyra, she does pretty good into Vex, she does good into Corki, good into Cannon, good into Jace, you know, she does good into all of this, good into Veigar, and good into Ahri, which all are quite weak champions right now. So honestly, looking at this tier list, it's pretty funny. It looks like it's just unlucky. It's unlucky for Orianna. She counters the meta, but she doesn't counter the matchup. Ahri, I don't know, Ahri is just useless, guys. Just don't play Ahri. She has good rotation, good ganking, but do you really think an Ahri is gonna kill a Set in the late game? Yeah, the answer is no. I don't care how much defense you can have for Ahri, the answer is no. But Hells, her first ability does true damage. Shut up. It's not even that much damage. Veigar, again, he's supposed to counter the meta because he loves playing against bruisers, but it honestly feels like it's a bit too much for Veigar. I never thought that I would say this, but the champions are too tanky for him. Normally, he'll one-shot anything, but really, it feels like the champs are just too much. You know, a Mundo with a Spirit Visage, Veigar ain't killing that, right? A Braum, Veigar ain't killing a Braum. So, it just feels like it's too much. Veigar is still quite nice into Assassins. However, Akali with Crown of the Shattered Queen, you're not gonna kill her when you play Veigar. So again, with the addition of the Crown of the Shattered Queen, it also indirectly countered the Veigar. Talking about indirectly getting countered by Crown of the Shattered Queen, we get to Annie. This champion is such a sad story. She used to be such a menace in the game, but Crown of the Shattered Queen and her rework have destroyed her. She's so much weaker now. Like, so much weaker right now. She's just really not that strong. Jace is Jace. I honestly hate Jace. I don't even care how good this champion is. I am never gonna put him high up. I just hate that champion so much. Morgana mid, you know, not bad, not good. Kennen mid, better than top lane, just so you guys know. I want to say something, by the way. Kennen has the highest win rate in China. That is why they nerfed him. But that doesn't necessarily translate into him being strong in EU. So they nerfed him now, and now he feels useless, right? Like now he actually feels useless. Mid lane, he's not useless mid lane. B tier is still somewhat playable, but just not good, guys. Corki is fine, but really not that good. Really not that good. Talon mid is fine, but then again, really not that good. Vex mid just sucks. I mean, don't pick Vex. Zyra mid is horrible now. Horrible. Teemo mid, of course, never picked that. Ziggs is so bad as well. I don't know. But I mean, he's not this bad. He's like this bad. Because he can do a lot of damage into melee champions. But like, his ult feels very lackluster into this tank meta right now. And there we go. On to the Dragon Lane. The only champion that is currently in the broken tier. Lucian. I wonder how many of you guys have guessed it right. Lucian is beyond broken right now, guys. And he actually got buffed. His second ability has a lower cooldown, or more, I think lower cooldown, which is ridiculous. Like it's not a super huge buff, but it is still a buff that will matter. Lucian is ridiculously broken. He can deal with tanks, he can deal with squishies, he can 1v1 any ADC, and any bruiser is never gonna catch up to him. And all of the supports work really well with him, whether it's a tank support, whether it's Nami, whether it's even Lulu. Lucian is broken, hella broken. I mean, I've played him and it's just truly disgusting how strong he is. And now with the buff to the Stormrazor, it's actually a playable item on Lucian. It's just so stupid. It's silly how strong it is. And a champion that also gets close to being broken is Kai'Sa. She's not quite broken anymore, but she's still very good. You know, AP Kai'Sa countering tanks, a mix of AD and AP Kai'Sa still being a very solid overall champion. The only weakness Kai'Sa has is her mobility and her range. You know, Lucian doesn't have a lot of range too, but his ult has a lot of range. So even if he's not in range, he can still do a lot of damage with his ult. And Lucian is very mobile, which Kai'Sa is not. Kai'Sa only has that ult. I mean, Kai'Sa has a third ability to make her invisible and an ultimate to reposition herself, but I still consider her to be a little bit immobile. I don't know, it just because of her range. Like, I would say it's maybe because of her range. Talking about range, we talk about Varus. Also immobile, but has the highest range out of any ADC. As in like constant range with his first ability. I know Draven ult and Jinx ult are global, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. He has the highest effective range, which means like he's very dangerous from a very high range. He can just do so much. He can dish out so much damage. You know, AP Varus is useless. This is AD Varus that I'm talking about. You know, lethality Varus and the other build that I gave you guys with the lethal tempo. If you haven't checked that one out already, make sure you watch it. Just look up HellsDevil Varus and you'll find this hidden secret sauce build, which is like Essence Reaver, Phantom Dancer, etc. etc. Check it out. Trust me, lethal tempo Varus is very good. Ezreal, good. He can hold his ground in this meta against anything and everything. Has a good build. Overall, just pretty good champion. You know, it's just you can always pick him. That's basically it. He's very safe champion, but can also be very aggressive when needs to be. It's just a very versatile champion that is going to work very well. Tristana needs to scale into the late game, but can take care of the tanks with her lethal tempo. You just gotta be careful of the early game. Like, that's really it. You just gotta be a bit careful of the early game. Don't get destroyed early game, and you'll be a-okay. Jhin, Stormrazor got buffed, and I'm cooking up a new Jhin build for you guys. And here comes the like goal. If this video reaches 1,000 likes, I'll bring out a Jhin video within 3 days. Otherwise, I'll bring it out like next week or something. But if you guys really want to see my new build, I have a new build, which is way better than the Duskblade build, just so you guys know. Give this video a like. You'll support the channel as well. Xayah counters all of these engaging types of champions, but besides that, she feels a bit lackluster, still very, very strong, but not quite on par with the S+ tier champions. Caitlyn as well, very, very strong with the range, with the lethal tempo. Somehow, some way, she can actually take care of the tanks, but it takes her pretty long, as opposed to like the other ADCs. But she's pretty good. She works very well with a lot of the good supports right now too, you know, Lulu, Nami, etc. Zeri is fine. I mean, she's fine. She dishes out a lot of damage. She's fine. Nothing much else to say. Jinx, yeah, she's good. Jinx is only good if you're like snowballing the game or if you have a Lulu, one of the two scenarios. But besides that, she's just average. Samira is quite good, but you have this enchantment, the green bounce thing. I don't know what it's called. The green, you know, the green bounce, like it pushes enemies away if you turn it on. If people actually know what they're doing, they can just build that against you. You're never gonna get your ult off, basically. Because Samira is not like Katarina. Katarina can build Crown of the Shattered Queen. Samira cannot build Crown of the Shattered Queen. She can build Edge of Night, but she's gonna lose significant damage when she does that. She's still good though, don't get me wrong, she's still pretty good if you do get off your ult, but she's very draft reliant. You can only pick her if the enemies don't have reliable CC to stop you. Talking about having reliable CC in your team, we talk about Ashe. This champion is quite strong. Like, again, A tier is still quite decent, right? It's not weak or anything. So Ashe is pretty strong. She does lack a little bit of damage, but her ult is very good. Her slowing, across the map ulting, across the map vision, you know, and of course in the mid-late game she's gonna do decent damage too. However, she gets outshined by most ADCs damage-wise, by pretty much all ADCs really. Vayne. Fun fact, Vayne is supposed to be broken tier right now because it's the tank meta, but she feels so weak, man. She feels so weak. What can I say? I don't know why. I don't know why. I really don't know. I cannot explain it to you guys, but she feels weak. Perhaps because of the low range. But she feels very weak. And to be fair, I don't care about it. I would rather have Vayne be this weak than have Vayne be so annoyingly broken. You guys remember the Vayne meta like 2 years ago? You guys remember that? Every single game, Vayne, 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 Vayne. Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Senna ADC can be good. She does a lot of damage if you pick it with like a Gragas support or Nasus support or something. But I wouldn't recommend it that much. To be fair, she works well into high HP champions because of course her passive does damage based on the enemy's HP. But I don't really recommend it. Sivir, supposed to be very good right now, but she feels a bit lackluster too. Pretty reliant on having a good support when you play Sivir. You can only really pick Sivir with a very strong enchanter like a Lulu, Yumi, not even Nami really, Janna, you know, these buffing types of enchanters. Twitch is fine. Draven, we're talking solo queue. Draven in duo queue would be here. Not here, here. But Draven in solo queue all the way here because you're trying to rely on a random support. Nyla also not good in the dragon lane. Akshan, never pick Misfortune solo queue. Never. Duo queue maybe. Solo queue, never. Alright, on to the support role. And I didn't actually touch Braum right here. Braum should be higher. Braum should be here. Pyke feels a bit weaker as well. And Morgana is actually... you know what? Morgana's fine. Yeah, it seems like the support role the support list got reset because this is not what I had for the support list. It looked a little bit more like this and this and this. Yes. He was a bit higher. This, yes. This was my support list. So Lulu is the best support in the game right now, by far. Not quite broken tier, but kinda close to it. You know, that stupid ult, the stupid shield, the stupid attack speed buff, the stupid damage, but everything is just stupid about Lulu. Very, very strong. She works with most ADCs, you know, Lucian, Zeri, Kai'Sa, Caitlyn. She works with everyone except like Jhin, you know, and Ezreal. So you can just pick her always and she's always going to be good. Even if your ADC is not good, you can just buff your jungler or anyone else. Talking about buffing anyone, Yumi. But aren't we all happy seeing Yumi not being broken tier anymore? She's a bit lackluster now. And funny that I'm saying that she's still hella broken, but she feels a bit lackluster compared to the old Yumi, which is great. Which is great. You know, this is very, very great. You know, I don't even want to talk about Yumi. It's still the same old story, but the story is not as broken anymore. That's it. Thresh, very, very powerful, very strong hooking champion in the lane. Can hold his ground against most ADCs in the early mid game as well. So like he can 1v1 almost any ADC. Very, very solid champion overall. Good frontliner, good damage, good hooking. Sorry. I'm hungry, that's why. So next up is Nami. One of the strongest supports in the game right now too. She does so much damage in lane. The movement speed she provides to her team is very, very strong. Her ult is very powerful. And just overall. Oh, and she's the most broken duo with Lucian. That one as well. That contributes towards her being S+ tier 2. Pick her with Lucian, because Lucian does a double attack. If you buff Lucian with Nami's third ability, his double attack will double apply your second abilities, or your third ability. So he can very easily do that bonus damage of your third ability. Lux is Lux, she can one-shot anyone. Janna is quite strong as well. Next up is Braum. They buffed Braum, guys. They buffed his third ability damage reduction, but more importantly, they buffed his passive stun duration by 0.25 seconds. This is a subtle buff, but pretty huge. It seems subtle, but in a teamfight situation where you stun like 3, 4, 5 people, it is pretty big. And Braum was already really tanky, and now his third ability makes him even tankier. It has even more damage reduction, so he can truly frontline for his team and just block. If you're against a team with a lot of projectile types of champions, Braum is going to be very good. Lucian has a laser, you know, Senna has a laser. If you think about champions that have lasers, Aurelion Sol, never pick Braum into Aurelion Sol. He has a laser, so it will just do damage to you. So be aware of types of champions that have, like, you know, laser abilities or abilities that come from above, like Ziggs's ultimate, Asol's ultimate. Of course, Braum cannot block that. He can only put his shield in front. He cannot actually put it above himself. Quite a shame. Would be pretty cool if he could put it above and block all, you know, Ziggs's ultimate. That would be truly Giga Chat. Would possibly make him a bit too broken though. Talking about a champion being broken, we have Soraka as well. I mean, guys, this champion is the classic, right? The classic Soraka. The only reason I haven't put her as far high up is because it feels like anti-heal really works against her very well. And I don't know, she's supposed to be very good right now, right? With the tank meta. But I don't know, it feels like the assassins have caught up to Soraka. You know, when I play Talon, I never have trouble with Soraka. When I play Evelynn, I don't have trouble with Soraka. Akalis don't really have trouble with Soraka. So it honestly feels like the assassins have caught up with Soraka. Next up is Varus support. I know I'm not gonna, you know, I don't put unconventional supports. Like, I know Brand is here. I know Gragas is still here. I know Annie is still here. Amumu. I know all of these can be played as a support. You know, Nasus support should probably be put in the list though. I mean, this one I play enough to put in the list. You know, I know there's more, so, you know, Teemo can be played as a support, but I'm not gonna put all of them in the tier list because that's a bit unconventional. But Varus I really want to put, because even though it's an unconventional support, S+ tier. Like S+ tier. It's not even, don't even argue with me about it. Check out the Varus support video that I made. S+ tier. He has superb damage, super tanky, percentage HP damage, so he counters tanks, can bully enemies in the early game with his third ability and his first ability, has an ultimate that can root everyone. What else do you need from a champion, if I ask you? There is no answer. There's nothing you need. So next up is Morgana. Morgana has a lot of DPS, and the Black Shield is very good. The Root is such a good catching ability as well. And then the beauty is, of course, in the late game, she's going to do so much damage as well. Swain has something similar, but Swain himself is very tanky. He's like a walking Morgana pool, basically. He just walks a Morgana pool into the enemy team and tanks up everything. And Rylai's Scepter on him is so good. Heartsteel was so good. You get like 5, 6, 7,000 HP on this champion. And when he ults, he's gonna heal up. He gets an Amaranth Twingard, which gives him a lot of attack damage, a lot of armor and magic resist. Yeah, you don't want to deal with that. Nautilus support. Nautilus has been secretly getting buffs over and over and over and over again every single patch. And people are just kind of sleeping on him. He is good. He does a lot of damage. Whether it's the support role or in the jungle, he's very, very solid. It's a very solid pick. I believe I forgot to put him in the jungle because I rearranged the jungle picks. But he would rate like A tier in the jungle. Much stronger than you think. High A tier. Senna is good as a support. Again, nothing special, just good. Just good. Leona fell off a little bit from before. I used to rate Leona closer to the S+ tier, but she doesn't really work well in the current meta. Again, Crown of the Shattered Queen exists. Tanks exist. It's just all not good for Leona. Sona is A tier. The reason is Sona is so easy to play right now. You just go Glacial Augment. You can even play Tank Sona. Again, she's not broken at all. She's not like old Sona. It's not even close. But she's always gonna be useful. But yeah, she's not broken or anything. But top A tier, you can, if you've never played Sona, just pick her up and you're gonna be A-okay right now. It's so easy to play. The only reason I've put Blitz, you know what? As a respect to the top 1 and top 2 Blitzcrank right now, which is the same person, by the way, I'll put him a little bit higher up, okay? I'll put him a little bit, just for you. You know, Luca, I know you're watching this video just for you. It deserves it, because I've seen what a good Blitzcrank can do. I mean, I am a good Blitzcrank myself too, but this guy is next level. This guy is next level. And yeah, S tier. Maybe even, I mean, you know what? You know what? If everyone was as good as him on Blitzcrank, you know what? This is where he would be. I wouldn't rate him higher than Nami. I would rate him here. I skipped talking about Pyke. What the hell? Pyke is pretty good as well. His ult will always remain useful. And again, he can roam around very well. That's the beauty of Pyke. He can roam around very, very well. So he's not necessarily the strongest 2v2 champion in the Dragon lane, but he can roam around a lot and just gank lanes. Get kills for everyone. And of course, that passive of his ultimate gives gold to both him and the one that got the kill or the assist within the X. So he can really get himself and the team ahead. So just overall, a very solid champion. Karma is good, not amazing. She's good, but they really nerfed support Karma. They reduced the flat damage on her first ability. So again, Karma is fine, but nothing major, nothing broken. Alistar is fine. Nasus support, only really pick it with Senna ADC. Ashe support, better than you think, like way better with the cross map ulting all the time. Rakan support is horrible. To be fair, it's like even worse than Zyra. But to be fair, I don't think there's a single support in the D and the C tier. Of course, if we look at unconventional supports, I could do this, but yeah, I'm not doing unconventional supports. So for the normal supports, I think everyone is quite balanced really. Like Zyra is playable, Seraphine is playable, Galio is playable, and Rakan is playable. All of the supports are playable. While if you go to like anything else, there are champions, Morse Fortune, not really playable. Kill, Seraphine, these are all not really playable. So the support list is actually quite balanced, I would say. Nothing in the broken tier, nothing in the C and D tier. So talking about the C tier, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. That's not my normal. I'll see you all, yeah, that's how I had to do it, in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.